It's so cute, I find myself smiling. I know that. I was just... Make sure that this will not happen again, although I'm sure telling you this is futile. It only causes me further headache when you choose to ignore the regulations. Dear God. Got that, Emmy? The small girl sticks her tongue out in response. Ah, I gotta go. Teacher will have my head. I promised to help with printouts, but I went running instead. Sorry, I've got to change and everything. Before Misha and Shizune, or I can say anything, she's already bolted from where she was a second ago, almost halfway towards the stairwell. Shizune looks like she's about to go nuclear on the spot, so I smile at her in a vain attempt to calm her down. Are you okay, Hichan? That Ibarazaki, thank God we're just going to call her Emmy from now on, is always like that, causing trouble to others. You know, I'm pretty certain Shizune wouldn't call me Hichan. Never mind, never mind. Ellipses. I can do that because I was this out. Yeah, anyway, okay. Just got the wind knocked out of me. That's great, Hichan. I wouldn't call that great, but I'll let it slide this one time. We have to run now. There's an important student council meeting regarding the festival, and we finally decided where to eat. Too bad you can't join, but this lunch meeting is only for council members. We can take you there some other time, but that'd be like a date, wouldn't it? Wahahaha! The girls leave for downstairs. I didn't manage to get far from the third floor hallway before all this commotion struck. Literally, I should get going this, well... The lunch in the afternoon class passed uneventfully. I read most of the book I had started yesterday and eat some of the mostly inedible offerings of the cafeteria. The class is tiresome. The teacher seems like an okay person despite the weird first impression I got, and the material is relatively interesting. However, the way he teaches is really bizarre, as if he expects everyone is a natural genius. When the final bell sounds, I realize that there's still a lot of time left in the day, and I'm left wondering what to do. It's odd. At the hospital, I had 24 hours a day of free time, but here, filling the considerably shorter hours feels difficult. Everyone else leaves, and I'm left alone with the teacher. Matao is examining the assignment sheets we were working on earlier, marking them with a red ball pen. Raising his eyes from his paper briefly, he notices me and furrows his brow. What is it, Nakai? I'm cracking my fingers real quick. I jump at him addressing me, but I guess it's natural to spark some conversation since there's nobody else around. Nothing. Thinking about what I'd do after school. The teacher slowly puts the cap on the pen he is holding and arranges his pencils to a stack, clacking against the desk twice. He seems very methodical, and for a brief moment I'm reminded of Shizune, but the teacher is more unhurried and relaxed, much more routine. You have no plans? No, I considered joining a club, but I don't know what kind of club would interest me. Go observe a meeting of someone else's club might pique your interest, I guess. But I don't know how to continue from there. Matao looks at me in a way that makes me quickly want to take the words back to avoid a conversation, but I can't, so I have to forge ahead. I just don't know how to deal with people. I mean, the other students. I'm talking to people and everything, so it's not like that I'd be isolated or anything. I just don't know what to think about the disabilities. It feels like I'm being impolite if I pay attention to them, and it's weird to ignore them. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. The teacher scratches his cheek absent-mindedly, looking very unresponsive. These things are only an issue if you make them one. You can talk normally with someone even if they're blind or something. Try to look behind the superficial. There's not a single student here who isn't just a normal kid behind whatever they might seem at first glance. He says the same thing as Yuko did, but it's true. It works, dude. Just trust him. I know they're right, but it's hard. How can you not consider, for example, Shizune's deafness when the only way to communicate with her is to talk through Misha? Or Hanako. It's not like you can ignore her face. You can, dude. I mean, I knew someone whose face, I don't know, it wasn't really scarred, but it was like puffed up, I guess, always. I don't know. Maybe that was something, but no one, no, I didn't really know how that happened. No one really did. No one, she was a popular kid still. You can ignore things like that. It depends on your personality, really. But I'm interrupted by the door of the classroom suddenly slamming open. Teacher! Oh god. Misha crashes in hands straight in an enthusiastic greeting, her voice loud and lively, enough to wake the dead from their graves. She starts towards the teacher's desk with her bouncing step, hands energetically swinging with the rhythm. Mutao, visibly dismayed at the interruption, and Misha in general, slumps in his chair. Mikado. Misha stops in her tracks and looks around cluelessly, as if she's sensing from his tone that something's wrong, but has no idea what. Yes? I need a drink. We have talked about volume control before. Yes? But she doesn't lower her voice at all, and the teacher just rubs his eyes. So what is it? We need help. We are running out of supplies for the festival stands. This is a distress. She waves a pink slip of paper she's holding around. So go get more supplies from the art room. What's the problem with that? Plywood. Plywood is always a problem. Last time we wanted more, there was only a little. But that time we just took it all and went with that. Now there's like none left there, so do you know where there is some? I don't understand. How would I know? Chan, the president thought that a teacher would know if there was any plywood. Was she wrong? Vital looks like he is in great pain, frowning with his entire essence, and Risha doesn't get it at all. Looking at the two of them communicate is terrible. Like looking at a man being tortured by drilling his skull open while blasting pop music at full volume at the same time. Huh. I'm afraid I have no idea if there's any plywood in the school, let alone where it would be if there was any. What should I do? Perhaps try to find Mr. Nomiya? I'm quite sure he would know where to find everything you need. You'd have to pry them from his cold dead hands, but that's a different matter. I don't have time, we are so busy. She holds her head with both her hands, looking at despairing as it's possible for a person like her. Without even noticing, she crumples the note she is holding against her hair. I shouldn't even be fetching these things. There's so much to do, and we are falling behind the schedule. Mattel looks at her gravely, then suddenly smiles. Smiling doesn't really fit his face. It doesn't look that bad. I think it'd be better if he didn't. I wonder if you could get some temporary help. He switches to staring at me focusedly with a hard expression as if trying to say, go make some friends. And I guess I can give you a hand. You can? Thanks, Chan. You are really nice. She pauses, does a double take, then points at me with her finger, yelping, ah! Then looking very puzzled. Come to think of it, what's Chan doing here? Class is over. You should be having fun. We just had a little chat. Oh no, it's not detention, is it? Are you in trouble, Hichan? No, I'm not. Is Hichan in trouble, teacher? No, he's not. Matao sighs deeply. I feel that I have to help Misha to get her off the teacher's back. So what do you need? Here's a list. I can try to find the plywood from somewhere if there's none in the art room. She offers me a note she's holding. I take it, hesitating a bit. I said I'd help you. That's not an implication of whether I'm joining the council or not. Aww. Still, thanks to Chan. Try to be quick. We are in a stall building streak right now. We must hurry. She bounces out of classroom, leaving me and the teacher looking at each other with something that feels like a silent agreement. Well, there you have it, Nakai. You have something to do now. Please don't sound so smug. Looking at the list with the number of items ranging from paint to plywood, all written with small, neat handwriting that is undoubtedly Shizune's, I heave a sigh. I'll be going then. Oh, I accidentally scrolled. Yeah, it's going up. That's not good. So sometimes when I put my hand on the mouse, yeah. Waving the long list limply at the teacher, I exit to the hallway. My classroom's closet to ours are designated belonging to class 1, 2, or 3. I don't know. I don't even know. Classes 3-1 and 3-2 on the right side, and 3-4 on the left side, each door looking exactly the same. Further down the corridor, still identical doors, are rooms that don't. I thought I had my mic set up. Whatever. Used for classes. I guess the art room is not a classroom as such. I carefully push open the furthest door and peek in. It's a classroom, but it's rather badly kept or not in use. Am I in the right place? Desks, and we're about to meet another character. Desks and chairs are all around the room, a thin layer of dust settled on them. There are some easels in the corner, so at least this looks like the right place. The room is flushed in sunlight from the big windows, shadows creepily all over the desks. Specks of dust are dancing in the stagnant air, making the beams of light almost visible. Jokingly, I call into the empty room. Anybody? Something catches my eye and I stop mid-sentence. Sitting on a desk is a short-haired girl, curiously wearing a boy's uniform with a fork between her toes, a morsel of food stuck firmly on the end. Quick explanation. As you no arms. She uses her legs, that's why she wears a boy's uniform. Because she couldn't really have a skirt, because that would lead to problems. Well, for her. Not so much for other boys, but you know. Wearing a boy's uniform with a fork. Oh, okay, I already read that. This odd way of dining seems to be caused by her apparent lack of hands, but her presence here is what takes me aback even more. How did I miss her before? Because she's sitting in a corner, like, very still. But I still somehow took her as a part of the furnishing or statue at first glance. I'm not being too observant today as a whole. The girl seems frozen in place, staring at me with her huge eyes. Her huge eyes like a rabbit in headlights. She's staring at me, her mouth wide open, ready to accept the fork. I'm staring at her, my mouth wide open. Suddenly remember, I didn't finish my sentence and trying to think of what I should do. This weird stalemate keeps us both stunned into silence, punctuated only by the wall clock ticking rhythmically. Whatever. Hello, strange girl. The girl stuffs the fork full in her mouth and is now staring at me expectantly while chewing. This is a bit awkward. Hello. I was told to pick up some supplies from here. For some festival stalls, I think. I didn't think there would be someone here. There isn't. That's why I came here, too. She picks up another forkful. Doesn't that mean you're here, then? She raises her eyebrows as if she was expecting my observation was false. You're pretty observant, I guess it does, but who are you? The girl's pretty straightforward, isn't she? I'm Nakai. Hisao Nakai. I just transferred in on Monday. I'm Rin. Tezuka Rin. Rin Tezuka. I won't shake hands with you, but at least we know who we are now. That's very nice. Her deadpan manner of talking makes it hard to determine whether she's joking about shaking hands or not. It kind of bothers me. Joking about these matters doesn't feel appropriate at all. It's her disability. Well, I'm trying to figure out what's appropriate and whether the girl is. She seems to have lost interest in me and is now gazing yearningly back at her food. Can I continue my lunch? If you don't mind, I won't mind you. Wait. Oh, if you don't mind me, I won't mind you. If you need to get your stuff, the supplies are at the back. Go right ahead, but lunch? School's already over for the day. What word would you use then? There's no word for a meal that you eat after lunch but before dinner. Linner? Lupper? Hunch? I wouldn't use that. Dunch? I wouldn't use that either, so probably linner. Right? It bothers me very much too, but I don't really know what I should say. I don't think you were supposed to eat a meal between lunch and dinner to begin with. Fuck you, Hisao. I eat all the time. That's probably why I'm chubby. Fluffy. But I'm hungry now. My delicious box lunch would go to waste otherwise. I have curry. It's very delicious. With much decisiveness, Rince once again picks up the fork between her toes and with at least as much impoliteness, she points it straight at me. So, Nakai, what brings you to this place? Like I said, I was told to look for these things. No, the school. From the outside, you look fine. What is your problem inside? I come to a full stop, opening my mouth but not getting a word out. I can guess. I am good at guessing, better than most people. Rin cuts me off before I can answer her questions, or skirts it somehow. I don't know which I would have done. I froze in front of this issue again. I haven't even told anyone here about my heart condition. My condition. No heart. The word heart is not in there. Or maybe it's only because it hasn't really come up. I do get a feeling that not making issues of this is part of the social code here, as the teacher said. I wonder if the people here could relate. Probably not any better than any normal person could. I can't relate to Shizune's circumstances or Lily's either. Just close your eyes. No, that's horrible. Don't quote me on that. Naturally, while I go through this in my head, Rin keeps considering what my condition could be, with an overtly contemplative look on her face. She puts her fork between her lips and leans back, looking at the ceiling as if the answer was written up there. A beam of light illuminates her face from the window side, creating a mask of dark shadow on the other side. I don't think it's anything in your head, and something in your guts would be boringly ordinary, like this lunch of mine, unless delicious. The problem must be in your pants. This messed up Sherlock Holmes kind of statement, and the sheer lack of tact it was delivered with catches me completely off guard. I think I might have reeled back even physically as Rin's eyes widen in revelation and astonishment. So I was right, there's something wrong with your tackle, isn't there? Still partially in shock, but recognizing the need to reply something, I spit out the first thing I could think of. No, nothing like that. I have a heart problem. Arrhythmia. Ellipsis. I said it. More like blurted it out, but I said it. The girl in front of me purses her lips together and glowers at me, looking very disappointed. How boring. Trouble in the pants would have been much more scandalous. What's with this reaction? I'm sorry to let you down. I forgive you. I collect people, and a person with, that kind of problem would have been really great. Collect people? Oh god. Good old water. People with different problems. Huh, so you just, go around asking people what's wrong with them? Pretty much. I see. Ellipsis. With little left to say, Rin resumes her lunch and conversation dies away, but I keep thinking about what was said. It's the first time I told anyone else about my condition. All the other people have either known about it already or heard about it from someone else. Or didn't need to know about it like everyone other student here so far. Should I have told it was a natural part of introductions? Is it expected of me? Hi, I'm Asao. I have a very serious heart condition. Is that how I'm supposed to go around introducing myself from now on? As if our disabilities would define us? What a disgusting thought. Or maybe this Tezuka girl just had a natural interest in such things. As I walk to the back of the room to pick up the items on Misha's list, a chance opens to study Rin from the corner of my eyes. Her hair is burnt auburn, almost orange. Kind of looks more like pink to me, but I think kind of a mixture between, pink going towards orange and cropped short, which obviously, long hair would be impossible with no arms. The boy's uniform and the lack of arms make her look very thin, almost scrawny. She's not particularly pretty except for her murky green eyes, which flicker restlessly from below her short bangs, even when she eats. The distance and the shadows make it seem they don't reflect sunlight at all, but instead absorb all of it and within them like deep wells. Goddamn headset, it gets annoying. Which I am considering buying a new mic. I just don't know if I want a better headset or just get a stand-alone mic, stand up, it's separate entity from these headsets. I don't know yet. She moves her feet almost as deftly as a normal person would using their arms. However, I can see how the sight could discomfort people, especially while eating. It makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable at least. I hesitate to think about the word unnatural, but it's too late now, isn't it? I keep searching the cabins and shelves for Misha's things, but after enough time, past the silence grows too uncomfortable, so I try to force some conversation out of this strange girl. So, do you always eat alone in this late, or do you get the occasional visitor? Visitors? Maybe you are my first occasional visitor, but I don't always eat alone either. Sometimes I eat with a certain person on the roof if she's not horsing around. Horsing? She likes to do sports. Oh, and that's all I can think of to say. Both of us fall silent again as Rin forks the last bits of her meal to her mouth. I look down at my haul and double check with Misha's list. I think I have everything except plywood. So I think I have all the things now. That's very nice of you. Don't feel obliged to stay. I was about to take a nap anyway. You need to do whatever you're going to do with that stuff anyway, right? Or perhaps you like to watch girls sleeping. I'm not sure what to make of this, but Rin looks serious. Even if I did, I think I have to be going. I'll catch you around, Tezuka. You can call me Rin. I feel that our relationship is at this point enough to warrant this much. I was already turning to make my exit, but she draws me back in. Fine then, I'm Hisao. Then you are. Ellipsis. Rin looks at me hard in the eyes, but that intimidating feeling you get when someone stares at you isn't there. It's like she's actually not looking at me. She's like... Rin is not amused face. She blinks a couple of times, and I can't figure out why a pause like this just popped in between us out of nowhere. See you later, Hisao. There's something like a tiny smile there in her face, maybe. I quietly back out of the room. As I shut the door in front of my face, I whisper to myself, what an intriguing person. From inside, I hear a muffled, sing-song voice. I heard that. Oh, Jesus. What did you hear? I jumped... Wait. Oh, that was Rin. What did she hear? I jumped at the sudden appearance of Misha, who I had not heard approaching despite the completely empty hallway. Somehow she had gotten to jumping distance of me, without making a sound. Creepy. It briefly reminds me of Kenji's nutty theory about global feminist conspiracy, but I pushed that thought aside. You should just throw that thought out. Shizune, standing slightly behind Misha, looks aloof, as she couldn't have heard the remark that drew Misha's attention, but Misha is visibly excited. No, wait, more importantly, who is in there? There's no club meetings today. She tries to curiously peek past me, even though the door prevents her from seeing anyway. What are you doing here? You took so long that we had come to check what's wrong. That's no good, Hichan. She wags her finger at me scoldingly. I found plywood, but everything else is still missing because you are tardy. Oh, sorry, I got the things here. Was just going to bring them. I think you were up to some mischief, Hichan. Who was in there with you, I wonder? Misha signed something quickly to Shizune, pointing at her own ear a couple of times. Shizune immediately pushes her way past me and opens the door into the classroom I just left. I can only imagine the shock she is experiencing. With Shizune's diligence and attitude, the insolence of daring to deface school property by sleeping on top of it must be too much to bear. And indeed, she stares at Rin, frozen in place, apart from the slight but noticeable trembling of her shoulders. For suppressed rage, I'm sure. Instead of blowing up, Shizune takes a few deep breaths, adjusts her glasses, and slams the door shut, turning to sign furiously at Misha. Maybe she did blow up, but I don't understand it. She shoots a very loaded stare at me, too, as if somehow my fault that Rin is sleeping on one of the tables. I hope she is not getting any funny ideas about the reason of my tardiness. Hello. Rin's voice comes from the other side of the door, and it takes a few eye blinks to realize she might have trouble opening it. I open the door to find Rin directly behind it, looking at his half-interested, half-sleepy face. Now we just have a party. Hello. Miss Tezuka, what do you think you were doing? You absolutely are not permitted to use school property in such a disgraceful activity. I'm sure it sure is suddenly very crowded in here. I didn't know I was this popular. She looks like she just got caught, which she did, but I love this game. Not really kind of game, whatever. It's hard to say whether she's happy or unhappy about this turn of events. At any rate, she ignores Shizune / Misha's scolding, so they have no choice but to drop the issue. Shizune taps Misha's shoulder, points at Rin, makes quick signs. Popularity aside, please don't do that anymore. Anyway, how is your project going? Will it be done for the festival? Rin looks at them blankly, apparently at ease under the pressure Shizune's cold stare is putting on her. I keep wondering about that myself, too. And? We'll think about it harder. As Misha signs her reply to me, Shizune, her face turns into an unsatisfied frown. Miss Tezuka, please try to take this seriously. It'll be a disaster if the wall looks like someone threw up their lunch onto it. Rin nods assertively. We'll think about more seriously. Think more seriously. Misha actually giggles at that, but she soon doesn't, not even after translation. She just shakes her head, takes some materials from me, and takes off with Misha in tow. Rin frowns thoughtfully as she looks after the retreating student council duel. How rude. It's true, though, I must finish my project before the weekend. But there will be a dire consequence if I don't. The end of the world as we know it. Like weekends usually are, but more dire. Much more dire. Maybe I'll postpone my nap to unforeseen future. I'm about to ask what project she is and what are these apocalyptic consequences, but she walks back into the art classroom. Since you have nothing to do, would you give me a hand? That's kind of punny. This paint can't and doesn't fit into my bag, but I need it. She kicks lightly at a huge can of paint that's lying on the floor next to the table. How did she put shoes on? And socks. That's what I'm... She probably has someone do it for her, maybe? This is kind of a disability where you're kind of screwed. You like, you know, we saw Emmys where you are alright. We saw Shizune's, Lily's. No, you never find out what's wrong with Misha. So, to the table she was sitting and sleeping on. What's that, a dull clang? Being the gentleman I am, I naturally pick it up. Heavy. Yeah, sure. Where do you need to take it? Away. With that, she takes off in the hallway, me and the paint can following since there's little choice of either of us. The hallway is quiet and empty now, with Shizune and Misha gone, so we two leave towards the stairwell at the other end. Every 10 or 15 or 20 steps, I have to change the can from one hand to another because of the thin handle cuts into my palm. I always hate that. At least it keeps my arms from tiring too fast. Rin strolls on beside me with an uneven pace that I have trouble matching, or even I am walking weird because of the extra weight. It seems one of us is constantly walking too slow or too fast, and I can't figure out which. 2 flights of stairs below, trouble appeared in the form of head nurse and his fox-like grin. Ah, Mr. Nekai. What a happy coincidence. Tezuka, too, of course. He nods courteously to Rin, who does not acknowledge him back, then turns to me, because obviously it's me he has business with. There's something I forgot to mention on Monday. I nod, waiting passively, because I can't even begin to guess what he forgot. The feeling of the handle delving deeper into my skin doesn't make me feel enthusiastic about this interruption either. It's about your medications. Since you haven't been that long on your current medications, there might be some unexpected side effects which might require adjusting dosages or even changing to another kind of medicine. So we will do a few tests regularly, but what I'd want you to keep an eye on is everything in your condition that feels off. If you get what I mean. Nausea, headache, anything. And come see me if something happens. Alright. So how are you? Everything fine? I give up, drop the can on the floor before answering him. Apparently this takes longer than my biceps can handle. I'm about to say something generic as an answer, but then I realize how often I've done that lately. Other people have asked me that too, teachers and students here, my parents, visitors, nurses, doctors at the hospital. Everyone seems to be concerned about that. It's natural for a hospital, not so much for a school. Except this school. This is a small school. Both student base and faculty seem to be very tightly knit. At least that's the feeling I'm getting. And this is not the kind of school that gets transfer students too often. The thought sends shivers up my spine, but I have a generic answer. I better give a generic answer anyway. Ellipsis, that's your answer. That's great. Also, one other thing. My sources tell me that you've been at neither the school track nor even the pool. So I'd like to know if you've taken up exercising as I asked. Of course I haven't, but his way of inquiring gives me the feeling that I should have been running my ass off on the track since the very first day. You have people spying on me? Not as much. Not as such. I just happen to know a few people, but this is not the issue here, so don't try to slip out of it. Well, I was actually doing some improvised weightlifting as an exercise. I pick up and lift the can up and down a few times, like some sad imitation of a bodybuilder, even though it's weighing down on my arm painfully. The stupid grin appears from his face for a second, and that comes back like it was never gone. Tezuko, would you give us a second? The nurse grabs me by the shoulder without waiting for Rin's permission, which he didn't need in the first place, and drags me aside. When I told you to exercise, I wasn't joking. Oh god, he's just super serious. Are you related to Brock? I understand that you're still on your first week and all, but please don't ignore the importance of this. The reason I'm coming down this hard on you is that habits are not easy to form. The more you slip and postpone, the harder it'll be. Yeah, exactly. It's the same with everything, like dieting. Can you promise you'll be more serious about this from now on? Yes. Yeah, I promise. Definitely. He studies me for a moment, then shrugs, smiling again. Okay, that's more like it. If you go to school track tomorrow morning, you'll meet my spy, who's probably has no qualm offering consolation to you if you want to jog a bit. Consolation? See you around. He leaves with a wave of his hand, no answer, and I walk to Rand about who has been waiting, idly leaning against the hallway wall and staring at the pale lighting fixtures in the ceiling. Even when I approach, she doesn't move her eyes off of them. Are you getting medications for your heart, Thingy? Were you listening? It comes out more accusatory than I intended, accidentally lashing out at her. But even so, I don't really start talking about it. I just met her. I don't know her. It's not her business. The nurse seems to be happily ignorant about confidentiality, too, talking about that kind of thing in public. But it's not Rin's fault, is it? I look up at her, suddenly feeling a bit guilty, but Rin is just staring past my shoulder, quizzically, her head tilted like a bird's. Sigh. I don't know why this is so hard for me. It feels like there's some inexplicable block that prevents me from being more upfront about this. Yeah, they're for my heart. Will they make you better? No, not really. They just make me a little less worse. Rin keeps... That's pessimistic. Rin... And I dropped the Sharpie. I have a Sharpie, I'm just kind of twirling around in my hand. Anyways, Rin keeps looking at me for a while longer, and she neither says anything... I was hoping I could do something else than click, but... nor display any kind of emotion I could discern. I'm thankful that she doesn't. I think I'm still not quite used to all this. At the hospital, it was easy, but I still haven't sorted my feelings about having to live a normal life with this disability. We leave the main building and Rin leads us onwards towards the dorm. We stop at the small patch of greenery in front of the dorm building. The dorm is built on a slightly elevated ground with a wall and a few trees that everyone has to circle around, and every time they come or go, it's probably the only inconvenience design in the school. The entire wall is made up the same kind of brick as the building itself has been covered with some sort of painting. Most of it is still mere sketches, quick line drawings with black and white against the gray plastering that covers almost the entire length of the wall, but some places look a bit more finished. There are human faces. This is what they're talking about. There are human faces and legs and hands, and I can't quite see what the painting as a whole might portray. Stacks of what seem to be paint cans are arranged in a pile on the ground besides the wall. See, the left side is hardly off the ground yet. It's because I couldn't get in the mood yesterday, so I gave up and went to meditate instead. Then it was suddenly morning. I have to work on it, but the guys from art class are helping with the negative spaces and base surface whenever, which is a problem. It's easier to paint big areas if there are a lot of people with hands. The reach is better, and it's faster too. She goes on a tangent of a tangent, waving a little with her arms or whatever of it there actually is to demonstrate, even though I got the point already. The white cotton of her sleeves flap around, and it makes me think it could look sadder than it does. But it makes me feel out of place, like almost every tangible reminder of the student basis. Special properties. I don't know why I did air quotes there. Special properties has in the past few days. This girl doesn't notice in my dreary feeling, of course, or the fact that she lost me a while ago already, and just keeps on blabbering. So that's why I'm trying to figure out if there is something I need to figure out, and then figure that out before it's too late and all hope is lost. Why would the hope be lost? Because paint has to be painted, and then it has to dry, and then it has to be painted over with another kind of paint. It takes time. She finally stops, apparently thinking she made some kind of statement that makes sense. It makes sense. I think it's best to start from the top. So this is your project. You did this? Yes, yes. All of it? Yes. Nice, but I stumble with my words, suddenly feeling like I've walked straight into a minefield of political incorrectness. It's okay, you can say it. I probably won't get mad. I blush really hard. I don't really know what would be the right thing to say, if any. It feels like I'm way more sensitive than Rin is, though. This is really awkward. Don't you want to ask? How do you paint without hands? See, I'm an easy person to talk to, right? With my feet. Smile! Yay! Look at Rin, she looks so happy. I almost guessed that already, but isn't that hard to do? You're good at guessing. Anyway, I don't think it is. But maybe I'm used to it by now. I can't get my mind around the fact that she could be an artist, but seeing how she was using her feet to eat, I figured painting might not be a problem either. I want to say there was a story where an artist lost their hands in a war, and they used their mouth. But that might be from Oblivion. Oh, that was fun, though. I like that paint world mission. Quest, whatever. Neither of us has anything to add to the subject. The afternoon light works pretty well. I was afraid it would look too flat, but it's not like that after all. I think it's actually pretty interesting. I wanted to see how it looks like in dim light. Do you think it's flat? Well, paintings tend to be flat. Not like that flat, you know, flat like some people are. No substance, no meat, where there should be some. I know a few girls who, okay, I get it, but I couldn't really tell. I'm not that good with art. I can't name many artists or artistic terms, so I don't really have anything to say. Rin shrugs her shoulders at that, saying suit yourself without saying it, and looks up at the sky, as if trying to look for something up there. I didn't think I'd get any actual work done, but if you give me a hand with the paints, I could do a little before it's too dark. I wanted to get a halogen lamp like the ones that they have at the sport track, but there aren't any. Rin sure is quick to recruit my help, as was Shizune. It really makes me feel that a festival is such a big project that every pair of hands is needed. Why not? I'm not really sure if I can be of any help, though. It's just mixing some paints. You can do that, probably. Do you have motor control problems, like, those people who have some cerebral palsy, maybe? Not that I know of. I get it. Heart thingy has nothing to do with that. She gives me a sly look for no reason. No, it doesn't. Let's do it then. And so we made love. Just kidding. So she sits on an empty wooden box and very naturally picks up a wide brush between her toes and bare right foot. I open a few of the cans and pour some of the contents into a shallow buckets for mixing. The thick paints flow lazily from the can to the bowl like syrup. I mix them, creating funny, hypnotic-looking swirl patterns that melt quickly into each other to form a new monotone hue. Rin sets to work every now and then asking me for a hand with something or the other. Ellipsis. Finding the different brushes is easy enough, but mixing the paints to the exact tone this girl is apparently seeing in her head is a frustrating ordeal. She wants precision down to the last millimeter before she is satisfied, but her instructions are obscure at best. Add half a splash of green. I crouched down and picked up the can of bright green. The other green, this green. I carefully poured some of the other green can into the mixing bowl. No, that's almost a whole splash. More white. Is green a good color to add? No idea. You're the artist here. A smile appears in the corner of her mouth. Do you lack an opinion? No, it's just that I have no idea. It's okay, because I just got an idea. Add more white. With this exclamation, I pour a minuscule amount of white into the bowl and mix it. It looks slightly whiter. That's not good. It has to be like the color when you wake up and you know that you saw the meaning of life in your dream, but you can't remember it. Maybe it's yellow. Ellipsis. Despite the possibility of mixing a color like the change of seasons or any other nonsense that's being imposed on me, I find myself enjoying it more than I thought I would. Seeing a painting being born on the plastered wall feels like magic. I spend the moments I have between mixing paints crouching down on the paving and just looking at her work. It feels slightly intrusive at first, like breaking some imaginary intimacy, but Rin doesn't seem to mind the least bit. Maybe it's just in my head. Her entire presence emits a completely different air as she patiently works the details, adding layers of paint on top of other layers of paint, steadily moving her foot across the wall to add new shapes. Whoops. When I manage to produce a passable mixture of paint, the rare smile on her face is oddly rewarding. Apart from the few words when discussing paint mixes, neither of us says a word for the longest time. And even those short discussions soon evolve into shorthand, both of us developing and using weird impromptu code words for various paints and hues, as if there was some need to conserve words and breath and sound. So it became night. We stay there late into the evening until it's too dark to paint properly. Katawa Shoujo, Katawa Shoujo, Katawa Shoujo. I really love this game if you didn't figure it out. The sounds of an alarm pull me out of a fitful slumber and into an unpleasant state of wakefulness. I linger under the blankets for a few minutes, gathering energy to rise up while making excuses as for why I already haven't. Honestly, I wouldn't mind staying here for all day. School is surprisingly exhausting after a long pause, and the culture shock still has not faded, I think. Still, despite getting an impression that skipping class is easy here, I don't think they are going to let me get away that easily. And the nurse is bound to keep breathing down my neck with the talk of exercising as well. So eventually I do rise, swallow the morning medications, put on my old soccer clothing. Thanks to my condition, I have been exempted from taking part in gym classes at Yamaku, so I didn't get issued with a gym uniform. I'd order some to cover such a contingency, but wearing my old soccer clothes is kind of nostalgic. I can't use them for that anymore, so maybe they can get a new life in this way, a bit like me. After all, I'm going to start taking care of myself. I can't afford to slack around. I'll start from the basics. Basics which include keeping the rest of my body in shape along with what little I can do to strengthen my heart. Maybe then I can go back to something approaching a normal life, or at least something where I'm less likely to fall over dead at any minute. I'm surprised to discover that I'm not the only person at the track. Not just that, but it's a face I've seen already. The prosthetic-legged girl who bowled me over in the hallway yesterday is running on the track lethally, just like a half-mechanical gazelle. What was her name again? It was a short one, but I can't remember. Emmy. She seems to be running laps at a somewhat easy lope. Her prosthetic leg clacking rhythmically on the hard track surface, and you can hear that. I wonder what reason she has for running this early in the morning. Maybe it's something akin to mine, and the nurse is oppressing the poor girl to jog like he is oppressing me. I certainly wouldn't be here if it weren't for my health, and his prompting me to do so. Even with things being like they are, it's only because I wanted to get it out of the way early. The fact that I would be less likely to encounter someone who would witness my pitiful attempts to get in shape is merely a happy accident. I'd leave, but it seems that my former assailant noticed me on her last lap. She waves to me cheerfully and jogs over. Good morning, your name is Sasao, right? She grins, seemingly pleased that she remembered my name. You may not remember me. Emmy? I knocked you over in the hall yesterday. Miss Ibarasaki. She imitates Misha's intimidating Shizoon, failing to get the same kind of subdued lilt with her high-pitched voice. How could I forget about such a blunt introduction? Emmy has the decency to look vaguely apologetic for the moment before giggling. Yeah, sorry about that, again. Well, so long as you don't have make a habit of it, I suppose it'll be fine. Great. I'm not sure she realized I was joking. So the spy consultant the nurse was talking about, is that actually you? That's right. Oh. I was expecting someone from the nursing staff to be honest. What are you saying? I don't look like I could be a spy? No, this is more like a reef. I was afraid he would have someone to watch my every move. Unless you're here to do exactly that. No, I'm here on my own reasons. The nurse just asked me if I had seen a messy-haired transfer student who looks kind of lost around the track. So why are you down here? Emmy strikes a dramatic pose. Training. For what? Track. Oh, I see you're on the track team then? Emmy nods enthusiastically. Yep, I'm one of the best runners too, and modest about it too. Hey, you should join up. It's good exercise, you know. I think that much activity is probably out of the question for me. Yeah. Nah, I'm not even sure I really like running all that much. Plus, I'm not into organized sports, you know. It's true, I never even really got that much into soccer. I mean, I'd run around with my friends and all, but that was really the only reason I ever played. It wasn't for the glory to be found on the field, and that's for sure. Emmy seems to understand my meaning. I see. That's not that into the whole organization thing. But now that you're here, I guess we're going to run together, huh? What? Sure, I guess. Emmy seems pleased. Are you going to warm up? Real men don't warm up. Oh no, you should always warm up. Bad Hisao. She scolds me enthusiastically, but then smiles and leans closer. I hate warming up too. She laughs suddenly. Heck, I don't even have to stretch my legs. Ha ha ha. As to confirm her statement, she bounces up and down a couple of times, giving a passing impression of standing on a pair of springs. Her leg blades seem to be quite elastic. Let's go. So we both take off. I hate running too, but that's because I'm fluffy. So we both take off around the track, and I can immediately see that she wasn't lying about being good at running. Emmy moves fluidly, throwing herself into the run with a sort of wild abandon. I find myself concentrating more on running properly. Hands spread right. And something about hitting on the balls with my feet rather than on heels. Trying to match my stride to Emmy's, but it's pretty difficult. Apparently I'm not very good at it. Maybe Emmy could help me with that sometime. I'm really not feeling up to more than a couple laps today and slow to a walk pretty quickly. Emmy keeps running and doesn't seem to notice I've stopped until she passes me a second time. She quickly skids to a halt, breathing steadily in contrast to my own somewhat gasping demeanor. Finished already? I hang my head ruefully. Heh, yeah. I'm not very good shape right now. Emmy nods, then grins at me again. She seems to do a lot of smiling. Well, the important thing is you started, right? Next time you have to try to hold out longer, then longer and longer, and eventually you'll be great. I'll keep that in mind. But I think right now I'm going to get ready for class. Shouldn't you? Amy shrugs unconcernedly. Nah, I've got plenty of time. I notice that she's not wearing a watch. Are you sure? Another careless shrug. Not really, but I've got to finish my routine. See you later, Hisao. Yeah, see you. I'm not sure whether this morning's experiment was a success or a failure, but I'll admit that I do feel slightly good about getting out there this morning. And like Emmy said, I just need to keep at it in order to get better, right? Practice makes perfect, or something like that. It's nice to at least feel like I've taken some semblance to control over my own health. I'll have to try to keep this up. I head back to the dorms to wash and change into my uniform, trying to resist the urge to take a really long and hot shower. I'm tired from all the running, so I just wanted to unwind, but I don't have to break my slowly building routine of getting to school before the morning rush. Oh god, not this part. After taking a long shower anyway, I dry myself off and get off out of the stall to put on my clothes. You guessed it! Out of nowhere, a shadow appears. Within the mist, looming and radiating malicious intent, it bursts through the fog. Thank God! They censored this shit. Sup? What are you doing here? What the hell? You scared me. What's your problem? I should be asking you that. I've been looking for you all over the place, man. What do you mean all over the place? I want to ask if he's been looking for me like that, starting naked, but hold my tongue back. I will be right back from naked Kenji. I need to get some water. Alright, back to Kenji being fucking naked. I finally realized that I'm still naked too. Quickly hold up my shirt in front of me, but Kenji doesn't seem to notice a thing. He's blind. His glasses are fogged up, but then why doesn't he wipe them off? Is his vision so bad it's like he's perpetually seeing through fog? You know your room and... yeah, that's it. Hey, I mean, I still had to get up, though. Whatever, it's not important. Can I borrow some money? He puts on an innocent face and looks away, trying very hard to look very casual. It doesn't work. He's as transparent as a window pane sized glass. Oh, he's as transparent as his window pane sized glasses. Sorry. Talking neutrally like this, wearing nothing, feels awkward. Ah, shit. I was drinking my water and I banged the glass against my teeth and I have a little bleeding going on. It's nothing bad though. It's more... actually, somehow it's even more awkward to be naked in front of someone when they can't see me being naked, to say nothing of the fact that he's naked as well. I try to brush the feeling off with little success. Money? Sure. Awesome. Wait, why do you need it? Can't you just give it to me because I had the goodwill not to run through your pockets while you were in the shower? I could have, but I exercised restraint. I'm in the end, isn't it the thought that counts? Come on, be a pal. That makes no sense. If it's the thought that counts, I should withhold payment, since his thoughts were so clearly impure and his intentions are probably even more sinister. Since he can't tell me what they are for, I say as much to him. I'm offended, man, but if that is your game, then fine. I guess I have no choice. I want to order pizza, and I already have most of the cost of the pizza. I need your help for the rest. I get some of that pizza too, right? No. Are you serious? Yeah, I would give you some, but you have class. You don't have time to eat a pizza. What about you? I'm not going to class. I have to wait for the pizza and pay the guy, and then eat it. It's not easy. You have to obtain the pizza stealthily. If you don't, everyone will see you, and then the pizza, and they will ask for a slice. It's a hard world out there. Everyone wants a piece. Then you're left pizzaless in an unforgiving world. It happened before, and that's how I know. And now I want pizza, you son of a bitch. Every day I plan my vengeance, so that when the people who wrong me order a pizza, I will be there, ever vigilant. Kenji strikes a dramatic pose, complete without irony. But yeah, I only need like 400 yen. I know that's not much. I'm not current on my yen. It sounds like a lot, but it's not $400 US. God no. Please, you're my only hope. I can't go outside and buy my own pizza. It's too far. I try not to go out unless it's absolutely necessary. Let me tell you what happened last time I went out carefully planning it in advance. I was outside. I can't remember what I was doing. Something standing? Maybe wondering how I got there. And then, out of nowhere, it happened. Like a flash of lightning splitting the sky. Like how you split a sandwich into two equal pieces till that make it more manageable to hold and eat. A bird cracked on my hand. It was the second most shocking moment of my life. What was the first? He ignores me and keeps going. I want to grab him and shake him. Is he just trying to keep momentum? I'll go with that, even if it's more likely he didn't hear me. It was like in the openings of some kind of anime show. You know how there's always a part where the main dude is fighting his rival and they fly at each other and clash swords and they're all like big dramatic color auroras and zoom. It was like that, but with poo. Okay. So yeah, I need some money. Please don't leave me hanging. I only need like 1,000 yen. I thought it was 400. Okay. What? I'll pay you back, I swear. You better. That's what it means to borrow stuff. I don't know when I'll be able to pay you back. You have 1 week. Wincers and makes a noise like a tying cow. A particularly disturbing fact given that his baton is conducting freely. I didn't need to hear that. You're not supposed to be so tight-assed about money between brothers in arms, man. Men have it bad enough as it is. Did you make that male porn stars only make about half of what female porn stars make? That doesn't mean anything unless you're a porn star. So maybe I am a porn star on the side, struggling to make ends meet as I fight the feminist agenda. And you can't even spot me. You're crumbs, you bastard. Nobody understands. Nobody. Wouldn't feminists be against pornography in the first place? The feminist agenda stuff again. This stuff's important. I can see how you do give a shit. But this is serious. Here, feminists are a dangerous enemy. Make no mistake. You take them lightly, and you'll wake up in the morning with a knife in your back. Bam! Out of nowhere. How do you wake up in the morning if someone stabbed you in your sleep? Women are terrible at stabbing things. I thought you just said don't take them lightly. Well, I mean don't take them lightly for the big things. Individually, they're not a threat. But if there's some kind of war, like a big war, with men on one side and feminist forces on the other side, it would be pretty ugly. And that day will come when the feminists come out of their central top-secret worldwide feminist headquarters and say, "It's on now, motherfuckers." You're being ridiculous. There's no big world feminist headquarters building where would they even hide that? I mean, it'd have to be massive. You couldn't hide that on Earth. Someone who would notice a big fortress with women only in it. Who said it was on Earth? I turn away from Kenji and start practicing frowning faces in a mirror so that I can figure out what kind of frown will best express my emotions. He can't see me from this distance anyway. Which unfortunately means he just keeps ranting on without any regard to sensibility. Yeah, there's a war going on. A war not many know about, but it's a great one. That will one day boil over and encompass all of the known world. Then, we will have to pick sides. We will have to make a stand, and in fact, it's happening right now. Imagine it, the bloody battlefield, a vicious conflict without end. I almost gave up when I thought this cause was silly. When I grew tired of the bleakness of our fight. When I mistook the time of power, went out for a feminist raid, and thought the world end was near. But then I realized that if I gave up, it would be all over, and I was like, whoa. I knew I had to do to get serious. Because I'm the last sane man in the sane world. It's all about duty. Must be pretty crappy movement if all hinges on one naked guy ranting in a bathroom at another naked guy. So can I have the money? He's blocking the way out. It's getting cold because I'm still naked and I want to go to class, so I agree to spot him the money. Awesome, thanks dude. I should go bowling later on. We should go bowling later on. Bowling? Yeah, it's the ultimate sport. There are almost no women bowlers either, making it also the manliest sport. No, American football. I'm saying that because football in Europe is soccer. In Asia, too, I'm pretty sure. Oh, get stretch. Should I wear my pink bowling shirt with matching shoes or pastel green with flower accents? Our bowling clothes? Maybe. Anyway, you'd better pay me back. I can pay you back in stuff, right? I don't have time to ask him to elaborate what that means. I don't know. I have to go get to class. You're kind of in the way. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't want to hold you up. I have some stuff to do myself. The time has come. The time for what? I just like saying that. Okay, now the time has really come. For what? I have to use the bathroom. Get out of it. I was just going to, and what does that mean? It's a big bathroom. So, I have to be alone or I can't go. The pressure. Okay, what if someone else comes in? Ellipsis. I'll think of something. I give him my practice round and it looked kind of silly and reflected in his glasses. He either doesn't notice or doesn't see. Anyway, so I get dressed and run back to my room, feeling as though an eternity has passed since I woke up. That is time I'll never get back. I'll get him for this somehow. But right now, I have to get to class. I'm the first person in class today, although I think I'm a little too early. Then again, sitting alone here for 20 minutes sure beats having to suffer that time with Kenji. Hell yeah, it does. Could have stayed in your room, man. You didn't get like a TV. The combination of fatigue, frustration, and boredom starts making me feel very tired. I black out for a second, waking up because when my head hits the surface of my desk, rubbing my forehead, I realize that it as good a reason as any to stay up for now and stop coming to class so early later. Eventually, I hear a tapping noise outside in the hall, and Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. She's not in this class, so she must have some other business. Maybe she's looking for Hanako. Lily stops at the door, looking hesitant as if she was a vampire who can't come unless invited. I consider doing so because she looks rather lonesome standing there. She steps in on her own accord, though, after straightening her skirt and shirt collar, as if it was important to look prim when entering our classroom. Excuse me. She calls into the quiet room with a probing, delicate voice. I realize the silence might unnerve her because of her blindness, so I break it. Good morning, Lily. Hisao, good morning. I didn't hear you come in. Wonder if she thinks it's suspicious I didn't say anything to her before. It's likely. If I were to tell her too big a lie now, it would sink me. Well, I was already here, just asleep until now. Oh, have you seen Hanako today by any chance? No, she seems to come in only just before the bell rings or after that. Do you want me to tell her something for you? No, it's fine. It's strange, but I think we're the only two people in school right now. I didn't hear anyone else on my way here. I shouldn't have gotten up so early today, I guess. You're chastising yourself for doing something that other people should. Punctuality is a good thing, I think so anyway. It's a very busy morning today. The festival's coming up soon, and today's deadline for event registrations, budget reports, and other official paperwork. It could be that everyone is trying to complete the necessary forms at last minute. Maybe that is why it's so quiet today. Hi. Misha pops into the room with Shizune, as if on cue, shouting with the loudness that makes Lily visibly flinch. Hi, Hichan. Hi.